The information provided on the Forever Young Show by its host or sponsors is for educational and personal alternatives. Statements have not been established by the Food and Drug Administration. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Welcome back to the second hour of the Forever Young Radio Show with host Carrie Nosler, health journalist and fitness enthusiast, who is joined by health educator and executive producer Kelly Capasola.
But whatever road you choose, I'm right behind you, win or lose, forever young.
And now, Forever Young.
Hello, everyone. So glad you could join us today on the Forever Young Radio Show. If by chance you've just stumbled across our show on the dial out there, our mission has always been the same here for the past 2 decades. And it's always to inform and educate every listener on healthier lifestyle options and good quality science-based information.
Indeed. If you'd like to learn more about the show, we make it easy. You just visit the website, foreveryoungradio.com. That's foreveryoungradio.com. And when you go there, you listen to past shows, got several up there. You can read a lot of different articles, and then you make sure that you visit the weekly highlight page. You got to do that because you get a play-by-play of everything we'll be discussing today. Look for the little Facebook icon when you go to the play-by-play weekly highlight page, and if you click it, well, then you will join us as part of the Forever Young Facebook family.
Yeah, it's great. We're sharing articles all week long. We're connecting with each of our listeners out there in the radio world, and first and foremost, Carrie and I just want to thank you for always liking our page and sharing our information with your friends and family. Now, today we have a really great show planned, Carrie, and I think a lot of people are wondering this time of year and also year-round of why they may need to detox the body. Is it necessary? What goes into it? So to better educate us, we've invited on a very special guest, Lynn Vitale, who's going to help us to understand the facts about detoxification and ways we could put together a pretty solid plan moving forward. You can learn more by going to foreveryoungradio.com. I'm Kelly Capasola, and as always, I'm being joined by Carrie Nosler. Hey, Carrie, how are you?
Oh, good. Thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. I'm excited about our show today. I feel like every time Amber comes on the program, we learn more and more about things we didn't even plan on talking about. So she is definitely a breath of fresh air. Really appreciate her knowledge.
Absolutely, absolutely. I almost feel bad about bringing certain articles that I have, because knowing that you just cannot drink coffee, it makes me guilty at times to find a coffee article. But nonetheless,
I can drink it. It just goes bad for everybody, right?
I know, and you have mentioned that before. We've got to find a way to get you into that whole program without, again, disturbing everyone around you. But you and I have talked a lot about the microbiome, right? Well, here's an article linking coffee to a healthier microbiome, believe it or not.
Great.
New research links caffeine consumption to a healthy gut microbiome. And it says it may prompt you to pour generously. They found a lot of different association between coffee consumption and lowered health risk of all sorts. Type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, even to Parkinson's disease. And it says accumulating evidence suggests that the makeup of your gut microbiome can affect your health, either by promoting or reducing the risk of disease. So they found that the microbiome of regular coffee drinkers were considerably healthier than those who consumed little or no coffee. So we need to know more about how the bacteria and the host interact to impact our health. But her advice for now, if you love coffee, enjoy it. This was kind of a tongue-in-cheek. It says, follow your gut. All right, I got it. But part of what's going on here, Kelly, and you've mentioned this before, because the bacterial species that heavy coffee drinkers have in their microbiome, they had more of an anti-inflammatory property and less likely to include a certain type of bacteria that's linked to metabolic abnormalities and obesity. So it seems logical that anything that really is going to help you will have to have some kind of an effect on the whole inflammation process, because that's where it starts. As you've mentioned before, many of our guests have talked to us as well. You know, if that's going on, then you've got some kind of problem that's happening in other areas of the body, and you just aren't going to be as healthy as you should. So not just coffee, but anything that affects the microbiome in a positive way. And as a result, or I should say maybe as a result of it initially, cuts down inflammation, it's got to be good, right?
One of the things I liked in the study as well is it talked about different types of coffee and geographic examples. So Turkish coffee, Greek coffees, U.S. coffees, coffee of the Middle East. I think that also has a lot to do with it. A lot of people start their day with coffee and have another cup around 3 o'clock, and I think anything in moderation is fantastic. But knowing that there could be some potential benefit to this is wonderful. And I remember you shared an article probably earlier in the year, Carrie, where it was coffee before exercise was also very beneficial for people.
Oh, I've had buddies for years and years before they knew anything about all this stuff that we're drinking, a cup of coffee before the exercise. That was before they had all these other kind of pre-workout things.
Yeah.
That was the pre-workout program.
No doubt. So this is, again, I know that there was a lot more that was shared in this article. Filtered coffee helps prevent type 2 diabetes, shows biomarkers in blood samples. You can head on over to foreveryoungradio.com, click on Carrie's Corner, read this article among many, many more. And like Carrie said in the open today, please go and check out our weekly highlight page. It gives you that play-by-play of what we're going to be covering on the program today and a lot of great information to share. So make sure stick around with us. Carrie and I are going to share a lot of great info on detoxification with our very special guest, Amber Lynn Vitale. We'll be right back after the break.
I get wings to fly. Oh, I'm alive.
Howdy, my friends. Welcome to Forever Young. Gary Nosler here, along with Kelly Caposola, and our special guest today, Amber Vitale. She obtained a BA in 1994 from Colorado College, then went on to pursue her passion in bodywork and nutrition. Massage training started in 1996 in California at the Alchemy Institute for the Healing Arts. Continued with postgraduate studies at Ohio University in osteopathy, became a licensed certified nutritionist through American Health Sciences University National Institute for Nutritional Education in 2000, then went on to study Ayurvedic medicine. This woman has got it all together in that regard. Amber is a contributing writer for Holistic Primary Care News for Health and Healing and Remedies and Taste for Life, Lifestyle Inc. publications, leading in-store Natural, Organic, and Wellness magazine. She's also provided video education content for the Health and Nutrition virtual show and the Taste for Life vlog. Loves to practice yoga, eat fabulous foods, hike in the mountains with her family, travel to other countries to experience new cultures, and educate herself and others about health and wellness wherever possible. And to help her do that, she is now a full-time regional educator for Garden of Life, where she happily has the opportunity to educate and speak, bringing health awareness to more parts of the eastern United States and, in this particular case for Kelly and I, the western parts of the United States as well. Our special guest today, Amber, thank you so much for joining Kelly and I. We're looking forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, Carrie. That was quite a introduction.
And it doesn't even fit the bill of all the great things that you do. It's just a brief snapshot of all the wonderful things that you do to help people in education and your knowledge on the human body and how to achieve great health. So we're always excited to have you on the show, Amber. And we had to invite you on today because we're talking about a big topic, and we could use a lot of help on that. And I think we can all agree the human body is an amazing thing. And even though we live in a world with toxic chemicals in the air and the earth and water, our bodies keep us relatively pretty safe for the most part if we're providing it with proper things. So in my opinion, a great way to help our body is with detoxification, but always go to the expert. What's your stance on that?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I'm always amazed at how long we're actually living in industrialized countries in the presence of all of these chemicals. It kind of amazes me. But I would say that most people don't have as long of a health span as they have a lifespan. That is where these ancient sort of long-standing techniques of detoxification and purification really play a huge role. It's like taking your car in for a tune-up. I mean, if you got a new vehicle and you're making payments on it, or you're leasing it, or you bought it outright and you plan to keep it for years, why wouldn't you take it in and tune it up? And how often do you do that? You should at least be doing that for your body as frequently, right?
Right.
You know, in the old days, you might say, when food certainty was not a certainty, it seemed like people just kind of fasted naturally on their own. I mean, they had no choice. There were times we had food and times you didn't. Plus, working hard and sweating, they were kind of doing, well, I mean, the body does detox on its own anyway, but they were helping that whole process.
And we weren't getting up in the middle of the night and eating because that didn't make sense. It wasn't available. And, you know, we interrupt our nightly detoxification by eating late and then eating early, or doing the Dagwood and getting up and, you know, going and getting food out of the fridge in the middle of the night. This is where I think this society where we have refrigerators and pantries and food certainty for so many people, even those in lower income brackets, there's a food certainty that is different than what humans experience through most of human history. And that has led to this need to sort of hack into this detox artificially. I mean, the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting is really about what you're saying. You know, it's about trying to hack into and return us to that more primal state where we woke up in the morning and food wasn't just right there in the pantry. We had to procure it, and that meant being able to function on a fasted state. And that meant that our body had to break down, recycle, reuse, clear out, and then start afresh with new material.
Well, do you think that's why the intermittent fasting concept is catching on the way it has?
I do, and I think the intermittent fasting concept is so funny. I mean, I love it, and I think it's a really amazing tool, and there's many ways to apply it, but I think it's such a funny swing. I just keep waiting for somebody to say, wait, I thought I was supposed to eat breakfast, and it was the most important meal of the day. And as trends go, you know, nobody's really saying that. But I definitely, when I lecture about it, I say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but it's exactly that. Break fast. When you do it is not as important as how you do it.
And I know Carrie, he's been doing intermittent fasting for years before anybody was really talking about it. And he actually works out on a fasted diet. So for me, I can't do that as well. I do need to eat a little bit. I work out in the evenings. Otherwise, that would be a long fasting in between. But I think, but I also think, you know, we talk about, I think you brought up a great point. Food is at our disposal. And some of the foods that we were used back in the day, which we would get from our soils, and our soils were a little bit healthier, that it would kind of help with the daily detoxification, whether we're eating different types of herbs or greens. At times, I think our soil is so deficient that even if we were trying to go that route, it can be a little bit challenging unless we know exactly where that food has come from.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we have things to clear out of our systems we don't even know is there. And I think two main ones that everybody needs to be aware of and that everyone in this country is burdened with are glyphosate and BPA. And I don't even know about BPS, you know, bisphenols. And they're coming from the receipt paper that, not let alone plastics, the receipt paper that we handle all the time. If you are in a service occupation and you handle receipts, you are so exposed to BPA, it's not even funny. And we really have to be able to clear this from our bodies. And then glyphosate, even those of us that are purposefully eating organic and non-GMO, we still are going to have higher urine levels just from national exposure that is unavoidable. It's in the water, it's drifting, it's getting on organic produce that, you know, maybe doesn't get tested. Not every bit of every produce has to get tested for glyphosate, even when it's organic. It's not feasible. You know, they have all the best intentions, but if you're growing organic produce, and I'm sorry to name a state, let's just say Iowa, because when I drive through there, Indiana, you've got, you know, signs up for genetically modified corn, soy, and beets everywhere. So what is organic in the midst of all of that?
You do have organic, then you have the problem of drift from the places that are using the chemicals, and they don't always get protected from that.
No, they don't. And I mean, for Garden of Life, when we source organic and it's certified organic, you know, we're sourcing so much from such big organic suppliers. All of our stuff is tested for glyphosate, you know, and some of our, like our pea protein supplier in Iowa, you know, they're testing before they actually designate it as certified organic. They've grown it certified organic. They've done everything right. They've got the certifications on the land. But if it tests too high on glyphosate, they reclassify it as conventional and don't sell it as organic. You know, but that's at a much bigger scale than just, you know, going to the farmer's market or even just getting your produce at the store and it being organic, it can still be laced with these residues. And it could be as simple as people spraying glyphosate in between vines in a vineyard. It can be spraying glyphosate around olive trees or almond trees. You see that in California all the time just to keep the weeds away. Well, that totally changes the microbiome of the soil. It changes the whole balance for that plant. It creates, just like in humans, a higher level of fungus when you spray an antibiotic around. And this upsets the balance for the plant. And then how long does glyphosate persist? Nobody will really tell you. I don't think we really actually know.
Yeah, but it's causing a lot of damage. And we talk about these BPAs and these glyphosates. It's even you see young children like the water bottles. So glad people have gone to Clean Canteen and these different water bottles they can refill and carry around, because every time I would see my niece and nephews, they were drinking a plastic water bottle. And then you're reading all this research, how it has the same estrogenic compounds as estrogen. And you see these young boys almost developing breasts at like 10 or 11 years old. And it's not, you wonder why that's happening to them. And then you look in our environment, and it's very scary. You don't want that to happen to kids, or let alone adults. It's very toxic.
And look at what happened before we even knew. All those plastic baby bottles, those plastic liners, sippy cups, plastic spoons, plastic bowls. Even when my kids were little, which was, 13 and 11 years ago, all that IKEA dishware, was plastic.
Back to the point you made, Kelly, the fertility rate for males has gone down dramatically over the last several decades. I mean, that's documented. We are definitely affecting our hormonal balance.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So we're going to run out to a break, but when we come back, we're going to pick up this discussion. We're going to talk a lot more about detoxification and a lot of different topics.
What can we do about it?
Yeah, what can you do about it? And the special treat is having Lynn Vitale with us today, because this is where our conversations go, because she's so well informed. So go ahead and check out our website. That is foreveryoungradio.com. Again, that's foreveryoungradio.com. You can hit our weekly highlight page, click over, and learn a little bit more about Lynn Vitale. I highly recommend you check out her blog, her vlog, her YouTube channels, everything she has going on. You will become quite a fan. In the meantime, we're running out to a break. And when we come back, more on your health and detoxification.
And in my heart, you'll always stay forever young, forever young. I get wings to fly. Oh, I'm alive.
Howdy, my friends. Welcome back to Forever Young. Carrie Nosler here, along with Kelly Capasola. We're talking about, we are talking about the need to detoxify, to get rid of the toxic chemicals in our life. And Amber Vitale is with us today to offer suggestions for people who want to do that the right way. And Amber, I say that because, a lot of people think, well, if I'm going to detoxify, all I have to do is just stop eating for a while, or eat a lot of fiber, or just drink juices, or whatever it happens to be. There are programs that are well thought out and well researched that can help in the processes that you mentioned, that we need to take advantage of if we're going to get the results that we want.
There are. Gosh, I know you both remember the day. I can just picture myself, because I was in Northern California at that time, making up these liver tea blends in a quart jar and carrying them around with me all day, or juices. And it's great, but we really didn't understand. This is pre-Institute for Functional Medicine, and we really didn't understand the phases of liver detoxification. And I just remember how horrible I felt. You feel good on day one, kind of okay on day two. Day three, everything would bottleneck at phase 2 of liver detox, where things are not getting broken down and you just collapse and then you give up, right? So today there's just so much more support for the body to detoxify and to keep going. Most people can't just take 2 weeks off, and just fasting, there's side effects to it. Just a water fast is great, but you have to be properly nourished before water fasting. I don't know how you two feel about this, but there's a lot of advice out there right now saying, start your ketogenic diet, jumpstart it by just water fasting for 24 hours. And if you take somebody on the standard American diet who's really undernourished but overfed, and they don't have the proper mineral and vitamin balance in their body, and you say just stop eating and drink water for 24 hours, they're going to feel like they're going to die. Yeah. And they're going to break down important body tissue to try to facilitate that detoxification. And they're not going to succeed nearly as well as if we first flooded them with vegetables. I don't like to take stuff out of people's diets. I just like to put it in. Let me start to put into your diet things that support your body in detoxifying. Don't change anything else. Just add these vegetables in. Pretty soon there's not room for other things. And then they're in a better state to do so. If they don't have enough protein in their diet, they won't have enough amino acids for phase 2 detox. If they don't have enough manganese, selenium, zinc, magnesium, vitamin C, they don't have the micronutrients that they need for detoxification. And they'll feel awful, and they'll be breaking down muscle, and they won't really be losing fat, and their blood sugar will be all over the place. That's yo-yo dieting. That's the problem.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of people have done over many, many years, whether it was with fasting or without, is they'll see something or, find something at a corner store or watch a video on it, and all of a sudden somebody is showing them this rope that came out of their lower intestine, and it's not true, first of all. But, secondly, more importantly, it's like you brought up a good point. People can't take 2 weeks off of work. And it used to be so hard back in the day to do it. I mean, you brought up a wonderful point. You got to carry these things around and, you're hangry half the time, especially if you're not used to doing those things. Yeah, running to the bathroom constantly. And I remember, 15 years ago, we would really talk a lot about detoxification. And I would get these calls from people, and two common things would always be an issue. And one would be headaches, which are kind of expected, or rashes. And I want to just kind of talk about during the detoxification process before we get into things, having a rash if you're doing a detox is, in my opinion, really isn't a bad thing. Isn't it really showing that your body needs to eliminate things sometimes, and how else is it going to secrete it if it's not coming out through the skin? But that's just my opinion. What do you think about that, Amber?
Well, so anything that comes through the skin, at least in Ayurvedic medicine, and probably Chinese too, because that followed Ayurvedic medicine, if it's coming through the skin, it means that it's in the blood and lymph. And so it's coming to the surface. And so it may have gone deep, and you're driving it out of those deeper organs and tissues back into circulation. And exactly what you said, it's pushing its way out. A lot of people see a rash and they're like, oh, I'm just going to go get a McDonald's milkshake and stop this thing right now.
Yeah.
And then it gets suppressed again. And it doesn't mean it's gone. It just means you shut the door on it, and you shoved it away again. Metals, so that's definitely something when they get in motion, and they could be, if they're stored in your fatty tissue, that, of course, if you're cleansing, you're going to purge and melt some fat and release the toxins that are in the fats. Or if you mobilize them from bone, those metals back in circulation, that's a common thing, I think, that causes rashes.
I don't want to be too alarmist, but if you are a person with a lot of stored toxins, which most of us have, the speed with which they are released into the system is important because it can overwhelm your detoxification ability. So people do have to have the right program and realize that it is a process.
That is what I love about, and I know we're going to get into this, but the Wild Rose Detox that's designed by Dr. Terry Willard gives you 12 days, and you don't have to go full strength, and so it's really something that people can kind of self-regulate. It's just that, our average person coming into a store isn't so self-regulating. I think that our country is so about, bigger is better, more is better. You tell me I can do one, I'll do two, and tell me I can go 12 days, I'll go 24, but I think that we get kind of a kick in the butt, and, if you get a kick in the butt, just slow it down. It's more about how long you give your body to purge rather than how strongly you go at it.
Well, tell us about the Dr. Willard. Tell us about the program that he's put together, why it's so successful.
Well, the Wild Rose Detox has been around for a couple decades, but Terry Willard himself has been around for over 7 decades, and his clinic and his clinical practice for over 40 years. So he's got a lot of experience, and I don't think that in the United States we realize how big of a deal the Wild Rose Clinic is in Canada. He's still training, hundreds of people a year. He's got thousands and thousands of people that have been through that program. They do still guided cleanses. You can actually sign up for a guided Wild Rose cleanse, even from North America, or from the U.S. into Canada. And so people can really do this cleanse and be in kind of a support group if needed, or you can go it alone. What is so different about this cleanse, this Wild Rose Herbal Detox, it's 12 days. That sounds like a huge commitment. But again, you do not have to go full strength for those 12 days. There's a dietary plan in the box. So it tells you what foods to definitely eliminate, what foods are ideal to consume. It allows you to be vegan, vegetarian, or omnivore, and it allows you to have black coffee. I mean, come on, people, how easy is that, So, but the diet is a huge part of it. And it also is the only cleanse that I know of that helps at every organ level. We usually think of purging the gut, large intestine cleanse with laxatives, and liver and gallbladder cleanse. But there's your lungs, there's your lymph, there's your blood, there's your pancreas, there's your spleen, your skin. Everything has to purge. Your kidneys. If those aren't all moving, then you don't have the eliminatory pathways open for that second phase of liver detox, and that's where everybody bottlenecks. You can take an herbal tea liver detox all day long. If you can't get through that second phase, you have these potentially harmful metabolites floating around. And again, I think that's another thing that causes rashes, fatigue, headaches, is that the person does not have what they need to push them through that second phase of liver detox, and the organs aren't open to help to process that. And so his formula has four different formulas in there working on all organ systems. And it's the most comprehensive one that I know of.
Definitely. And what I like about it and the approach on it is teaching people how to live a new lifestyle, too. Maybe they're not used to limiting certain things, or they're eating that milkshake on a daily basis. And they're like, gosh, I feel guilty. I want to do something better. It gives you like a good 12-day reset along with some really good nutritional support. So huge fan of the Wild Rose Herbal Detox.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, take this diet out of here, photocopy it, scan it into your computer, keep it forever, because this diet plan that he gives you is in itself totally balanced. You could eat that way the rest of your life and be very, very, very healthy. The diet on its own allows the body to purge and detoxify. If you just paired that diet with intermittent fasting and you just did it for a year, you would gradually clean your body out, but you can take it further with these herbs. What do herbs give us? You mentioned the soil being depleted, and that is true. I mean, since the 60s, they've been monitoring, the content of nutrients in the soil, and it has been gone down by half, I think, since the 1960s. And that's even in organic produce. Organic produce tends to have higher antioxidants, but not necessarily higher minerals if the soil hasn't been regenerated. And so our herbs give us more concentrated constituents that we don't get every day in our fruits and vegetables, or even our animal products if animals have eaten those. If you're not eating animals that are out grazing on actual herbs and plants, then they're animal products, your milk, your eggs, your meat will not have those components in them.
We got to run out to another break, but I want our listeners to go to our weekly highlight at foreveryoungradio.com. Again, foreveryoungradio.com. Click to our good friends at Garden of Life. Go and check out Wild Rose Herbal Detox. It's tried and true. You can track where these herbs are coming from. You know what's in the formulation. And again, based off science, being used at the wonderful Willard Centers for many, many years. So go and check it out, gardenoflife.com, and we'll be right back after the break.
I get wings to fly. Oh, I'm alive.
Howdy, my friends. We're back with more on Forever Young. Carrie Nosler here, along with Kelly Caposola, Lynn Vitale, our special guest today, talking about detox. And Amber, you mentioned again that Garden of Life, everything they do, there's a lot of thought and preparation and understanding and reason behind what's going on. So you talked about the Wild Rose Herbal Detox, the 12-day cleanse, but you also have a 7-day cleanse. You have a raw cleanse, triple detox formula. Why do we want these other formulas in the program as well?
That's for people who can't commit to 12 days, That's just too much. I'll just do the 7-day cleanse. No, they're different. We have the perfect cleanse and the raw cleanse. I love that you chose the raw cleanse to talk about today. This is really one that I think people can jump into without changing much, and it helps kind of move things along in their body. And what is so unique about the raw cleanse is it starts with this oral probiotic called Toxin Defense. And I don't know another cleanse that does that. It's a oral probiotic rinse with pineapple and sea buckthorn and pomegranate, and it starts the cleanse in the mouth. Your digestive tract starts in your mouth. And if you can set up the right microbial balance in the mouth, everything starts to work well all the way down. I wish we sold this first step, toxin defense, separately for people, because the pH of the mouth, the microbes in the mouth, that just changes everything. And so you start with that in the morning, and then, of course, you're taking something to support the liver, gallbladder, and to move things kind of through the gut. What's great about Raw Cleanse, it is one of the few that has both some herbs like milk thistle to, support the liver and help initiate this cleansing, but it has these amino acids. Cysteine, glycine, and glutamic acid help you make glutathione. Glutathione is your main detoxifying amino acid that your liver produces. A lot of your cells produce it. Your liver produces a ton of it. And this supports that production. So it supports moving things through that second phase of detox. There's also a melon source of what's called superoxide dismutase, which is an enzyme that also neutralizes oxidation in products. So oxidation. We need oxygen, but it makes us old faster, and it also is damaging to the cells. So you have to be able to neutralize it within the cell. And then, like any of the usual cleanses that are out there, that third part is get that stuff out the body. So you want to capture these toxins that are pouring into your intestinal tract, bind them up in fiber, and get them out, and don't allow them to be resorbed. And I think this is such an important moment to say, do not be constipated when you are cleansing. Don't be constipated ever, but do not be constipated when you're cleansing. If you are not going to the bathroom a reasonable amount relative to what you're eating, slow down your cleanse or stop it until you get things moving. Because if you just dump toxins into your gut and then they are sitting there, you're reabsorbing them and you're auto-intoxicating.
Great point. And here we did a 12-day, we did a 7-day, and I did selfishly pick that product when we were talking about Raw Cleanse, the triple detox formula, because I use it, and I know that it's effective. And that's something exciting that we like to share with our listeners. A lot of the times we talk about something on the show, it's tried and true, so we make sure that our listeners have confidence in it, and we want to make sure they're going to be okay if they do it, not have weird things crawling out of their ears or anything like that. So we try to be on the up and up about it. There's also a lot of daily choices I think that people can make to lower the amount of toxic load within our body. And when so often, and I mean, tell me if you're jaded, I see a lot of benefits in antioxidants. I take glutathione every day. I take a liver health formula every day, whether I'm detoxing or not. But I think that people will hear things in the news like, oh, this is a great ORAC value in antioxidants. And one may not be a really good product, or it could be a juice that has like 45 grams of sugar in it. And if they already have candida issues that they're trying to rid, it kind of feels like it's spurring that on. So,
yeah, I mean, the ORAC is really not a very good tool for actual consumption of supplements, especially. It's a laboratory measurement. It's using certain reference ranges. It doesn't have a real life application. What you're looking for is something that doesn't have sugar, that has the right gram amount of detoxifying or antioxidant nutrients in it, and is coming from a good, clean source, and that makes you feel good. And that's what your daily detox should be. I love our raw organic perfect food alkalizer detoxifier. It's a soup of greens with burdock and milk thistle and, all this great stuff in it, fennel. And this is something like when I started with Garden of Life, I used it every single day, like twice a day. I was just like craving it. It's a beautiful product. This is the best place for someone to start. Our liver bitters after every meal, especially those that are containing fat and heavy protein. Do a liver bitters. Help your digestion work better. Take digestive enzymes. Start with a greens powder or alkalizer detoxifier. Why I love those powders is because they don't have the sugar that fruit juices have. I love a good juice bar, but it is so hard to keep the sugar out of it. Most people don't like a fully green juice. They want the apple or the carrot or the beet, which is great when you're eating it, but you juice it and it's just too high sugar, like you said. So these powders are great. And then I think, so if you're doing this daily stuff, taking antioxidants, taking glutathione, this kind of a thing, and then when you're ready, you jump into something like the Raw Cleanse, just add that into the regimen, clean things out of your gut, see how it goes, and then you graduate to this sort of full cleanse that Dr. Terry Willard put together, which really, though it has so much instruction with it, it is a little more complicated. And I think that for some people, especially if they have a hard time getting stuff out of their colon, if they have a hard time eliminating and they're going to this brand new diet, it can be pretty hard for people to self-monitor until they've gotten the hang of cleansing and knowing how to move things along, literally, you know? So it's kind of the graduated level of detox.
So how often then do you recommend that people do a cleanse?
Well, gosh, in Ayurvedic medicine, we said you cleanse every seasonal change. So it kind of depends on where you live. We should be doing something about, resting the body, cleansing the body right as we're anticipating seasonal changes. It allows us to purge the excesses from the past season. So like a hot summer, you want to purge the heat from your body. That's something that elderberry really does. As you go into the fall, that elderberry is bitter and it starts to purge that heat and prepares you for the winter. If you have excess heat and you come into the winter, it gets suppressed and it comes out as fevers and colds and other things like that. So seasonal changes are really important, and that's where we usually get caught. It's harder to cleanse when it's cold. Like, here's people finish the holidays come January. They're like, I imbibed so much excess, I'm going to do a detox. But, if you're in Michigan and you decide to fast and do a juice cleanse, that's just your body's going to rebel against that. So coming out of the spring is probably, of the time of the year, spring into summer, the very easiest, the very best, the very most intuitive time to do it.
Yeah, and working in some of these daily choices like the MyKind Organics Liver Bitters Detox Spray. I love that it's no sugar, it's alcohol-free. Lots of cool things within that.
And vinegar.
Definitely. And, I love that it's gluten-free. Again, we talk non-GMO, Project Verified, which is great. So, look, everything Garden of Life does is excellent. I mean, you think about everything that you put into every ingredient, every bottle. You track everything that you put into every ingredient, every bottle. And we applaud you on the show. We have a lot of respect for what you do. Water consumption. I mean, people are bad water drinkers as it is. I was talking to someone the other day, and she said to me, well, it's not really water season. So water season is when it's 110 degrees outside. It's a year-round type of a celebration that we can all enjoy.
Yes. Here's the thing about water that is just sort of blowing my mind. Never before in human history have we had so much dead water. We're all worried about access to clean water. That's one concern for sure. You don't want to be putting lead in your water, speaking of Michigan, or rust in New York City, or, any kind of bacteria or anything like that. So the fluoride, the chloride, those are all issues. But dead water devoid of any mineral content is not normal for human consumption. We've always drunk from rivers, streams, ponds, puddles, lakes. Never before have we drunk water that contains no electrolytes in it, nothing to actually get it into the cells. And so really look at those trace mineral formulas that you can add to your water. Really contemplate that. We have a gravity-fed filter, a ProPure gravity-fed filter, and, we add minerals because if you don't, you're just flushing your kidneys. You're not really getting stuff in your cells.
Again, always fun to have you on the show, Amber. We look forward to talking to you many times within the new year. I know you're going to share with us a lot of great information. We wish you and your family the happiest of holidays and a great new year ahead, and appreciate all the information you shared with us today.
To all of you as well, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, listeners. So we talked about Garden of Life today. You can learn more at their website, gardenoflife.com. Again, that's gardenoflife.com. They're also available at retail stores nationwide. And as I mentioned, online. Go on there and check it out. They have a fantastic recipe section. They have all kinds of great informational things. You can learn more about the products that we spoke about. And if you're driving, don't forget, Carrie and I have put all of this on our weekly highlight page at foreveryoungradio.com. That does it for our show today. Have a happy and healthy week, and we will catch you next time.